everyone, welcome back to the channel, your favorite Fox-fueled corner of gaming reviews, where curiosity gets the better of us way too often. Today, we're diving headfirst into a game that's equal parts escape room, horror movie, and emotional roller coaster. Yep, we're talking about Last Labyrinth, developed by KK. So imagine this. You wake up in a dark, creepy mansion, strapped to a wheelchair, completely unable to move, and there's a mysterious little girl staring at you. Not exactly the kind of team-building exercise you were hoping for, right? That's Last Labyrinth, a VR escape room experience where helplessness isn't just part of the plot, it is the gameplay. From the moment you open your eyes, the game makes one thing clear. You're not the hero here. You can't walk, run, or even stand. You're basically a laser pointer-wielding bobblehead strapped to a chair. Your only lifeline? A switch in your hand and a head-mounted laser pointer you use to direct your silent companion, Katia. She doesn't speak your language, and you can't speak hers. But somehow, the two of you have to cooperate to escape this bizarre labyrinth of puzzles and death traps. And when I say death traps, I mean it. This isn't your friendly neighborhood escape room. Press the wrong button, and you'll be treated to one of many gruesome, sometimes shocking try-again screens. Let's just say Katia's innocent smile doesn't make it any less disturbing when something goes horribly wrong. Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, another horror VR game, try and make me jump. But Last Labyrinth doesn't rely on cheap scares. It's psychological. It makes you feel trapped. The limited movement, the darkness, the silence. Everything is designed to make you rely completely on Katia, and weirdly, that's what makes the game so fascinating. You're forced to trust her. She's your hands, your legs, your hope, and sometimes your reason to panic. Watching her hesitate or look confused when you point your laser at something risky actually makes your stomach drop. It's this weird bond that grows between you and a virtual character, even though you can't understand a word she says. The puzzles themselves, they range from clever to cruel. Some are classic logic challenges, others involve timed sequences or environmental traps. 1 minute you're solving a pattern on a wall, the next you're dodging death like it's an Olympic sport. And the game doesn't hold your hand. In fact, it ties your hands up literally and dares you to figure it out. Let's talk presentation for a second. The visuals are surprisingly detailed for a smaller VR title. The mansion feels cold and mysterious, and every object seems to hint at a story you'll never fully understand. The lighting does a great job of adding tension. Shadows stretch across the room, just enough to make you think something's watching. And the sound design? Chef's kiss. You'll hear distant machinery, echoing footsteps, and just enough ambient noise to make you question every decision you make. But it's not all roses and riddles. Let's talk about the elephant in the wheelchair, repetition. Once you've solved a room and hit a bad ending, you'll often find yourself redoing puzzles you've already cracked. There's no real skip feature, which can make replaying sections a bit tedious. Also, because movement is restricted, some players might find the gameplay frustrating, especially if they're expecting a more traditional VR adventure. However, that restriction is kind of the point. The developers clearly wanted you to feel powerless, and in that sense, they nailed it. The discomfort is part of the experience. A reminder that fear in VR doesn't need jump scares, it just needs control taken away from you. And speaking of developers, KK isn't new to creating atmospheric worlds. Members of the team have worked on classics like ICO and Shadow of the Colossus, and you can feel that DNA all over Last Labyrinth. The quiet storytelling, the haunting imagery, the sense of mystery that never quite explains itself. It's all there, just translated into VR form. Now, for those wondering, yes, Last Labyrinth has been re-released as Last Labyrinth. Lucidity Lost, which lets you play without VR. That's great if you don't have a headset, or if motion sickness is your sworn enemy. But, and this is important, the experience loses some of its magic in flat-screen form. The whole point of the game is feeling trapped inside it. When you play on a normal display, that tension deflates a little, and it becomes more of a curious puzzle adventure than an immersive nightmare. Performance-wise, The VR version runs smoothly on most modern headsets. The seated setup makes it ideal for players who can't handle heavy movement. And it's actually one of the few horror VR games that you can play sitting down without losing immersion. So, what's the verdict? Last Labyrinth is not for everyone, but for the right player, it's unforgettable. If you crave something unconventional, emotionally weird, and occasionally terrifying, this is a must-try. It's less about escaping the room and more about escaping your own limitations. It's a game that reminds you that communication, trust, and patience can be just as intense as any boss fight. If you're easily frustrated, or if the idea of being tied to a chair while someone else does the heavy lifting sounds annoying, you might want to skip it. But if you're intrigued by immersive storytelling and psychological tension, give it a shot. Just maybe don't play it alone at 2 a.m. unless you enjoy giving your heart a workout. For me, Last Labyrinth gets a solid 8 out of 10. It's haunting, it's original, and it's surprisingly emotional for a game where you barely move an inch. Alright, that's it for today's review. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more Fox-approved gaming content, and let me know in the comments, would you trust Katia to get you out alive? Or would you rather stay strapped in and take your chances? Until next time, this is your favorite Fox signing off. Remember, if you ever wake up tied to a chair in a creepy mansion, don't press the red button.